Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us. I want to thank my colleague, Congressman Fitzpatrick. I want to especially thank the Office of National Drug Control Policy Deputy Director Kendall Erlich for joining us. Today, we have, as you can see, a very distinguished group of folks from Bucks County and beyond. Our U.S. Attorney Bill McSwain is with us, our Bucks County DA Matt Weintraub, and members of law enforcement and local governance. So thank you all very much for being here today. You know, I think we all know that every part of Pennsylvania is struggling with drug abuse and drug addiction, and it includes certainly heroin and fentanyl, but it also includes cocaine and methamphetamines. This scourge that we've been contending with for some years now is complex, it's rapidly evolving, it's a crisis, it's lethal, and it's pervasive. If there's any good news at all, some good news comes from the fact that in a very partisan and polarized political environment, fighting this crisis has not been polarized, has not become politicized. And so we've been able to make some modest progress. In recent years, Congress has passed a number of really important pieces of legislation that have helped us to address this problem. And that's essential here in Bucks County because Bucks County is, let's face it, it's a trafficking hub for very, very dangerous and illegal drugs. It's mostly a function of geography. Its proximity to Philadelphia, to New York, to major highways, to the Port of Philadelphia. All of those factors have contributed to the kind of traffic that moves through Bucks County. And today's announcement is about one of the ways that we are fighting back against this traffic. Bucks County officials, along with law enforcement, applied to the White House to be deemed a high-intensity drug trafficking area, known by the acronym HIDTA. I was happy to support that application, as was Congressman Fitzpatrick, as was Senator Bob Casey, who couldn't be here today, but I know his office is represented. The purpose of this designation is to give Bucks County greater access to federal law enforcement resources. It'll help to enhance coordination between federal, state, and local law enforcement in drug prevention and drug control efforts. Now, as I said earlier, we're fortunate to have the Office of National Drug Control Policy Deputy Director here with us, and she's going to discuss some of the particulars of the program. I'm pleased that we were able to get this designation. I think this designation is going to help Bucks County law enforcement to keep our communities safer than they otherwise would be. And I want to, again, thank everybody for being here. Let me turn the podium over now to Congressman Fitzpatrick and thank him for his consistent leadership in fighting this very, very challenging problem. Congressman Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Senator Toomey. I also want to recognize Senator Casey's office, Ebony, for being here. The senator is out in western Pennsylvania, was very, very instrumental in this as well. And our U.S. Attorney, our District Attorney, Matt Weintraub, the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy for their renewed fight in this opioid epidemic. And Bucks County, where we call home, is known for its scenic countryside, small town villages, our rolling farmland, and its rich history. But despite all this, the location which we love about Bucks County has it situated in a major corridor of drug trafficking, and is a co-chair of the bipartisan heroin task force. We on our task force, myself and Annie Custer, Democrat and Republican, have made it a major point of going after this epidemic that has affected so many lives here and across our great nation. And we felt it was our duty to support our hometown here with the assistance of both of our U.S. senators and our district attorney and the amazing women and men of law enforcement that stand behind me. They do the yeoman's work every single day in very, very tough circumstances. And as you'll hear in a minute, this designation will serve as a force multiplier for potential funding, technology, and manpower And as a HIDTA area, our law enforcement agencies will create stronger operational ties, share critical information more easily, and maximize available resources among our federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. And I would also like to mention there's a tangential piece of legislation called the Restore Act of 2019, which will bolster the DEA in a time where opioid abuse, addiction, and drug-related deaths continue to be a significant problem. We all know the numbers. We are 5% of the world's population here in the United States. We consume 75% of the world's opioids. It is a problem. It's a problem that these people are dealing with and fighting every single day, and this is going to help. And I want to introduce a great leader, a great law enforcement officer, and most importantly, a great human being, a guy who works tirelessly, is incredibly competent, and most importantly, has a huge heart, my friend Matt Weintraub. Matt?
Thanks, Brian. Thank you all for coming here, especially thank you for all of your support, all these men and women that are arrayed behind me. I want to reinforce a message because when word came out that we sought the HIDTA designation and we were successful, some people came to me in my communities and they said, oh, that's terrible, property values are going to go down, we're high-intensity drug trafficking area. I said to them, you're looking at this the wrong way. This is, we are already enmeshed in this issue. This is what we do to combat it. As Brian, as Congressman Fitzpatrick spoke about, this is a force multiplier. We're now joining forces to benefit literally from the center of the state all the way down to the Atlantic Ocean, and we're combining those resources. That's technology, that's infrastructure, it's manpower, it's intelligence, and the whole is clearly greater than the sum of its parts. But the essence of this is we joined HIDTA, we applied to HIDTA, and thanks to our senators and our representatives and all of our local police officers, our state police, we cannot be defeated. And the one goal is to keep our communities safe. And we will beat the drug dealers and the violence and the crime that they bring by adding to this already impressive force that you see before you. And for everybody's support, I'm very, very grateful.
Thank you very much. We really are very fortunate to have with us here in Bucks County today, up from Washington, the Deputy Director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Kendall Erlich. I am grateful to her for the work that she does every day fighting the scourge across so much of the country. She is well aware of just how intense this problem is in southeastern Pennsylvania, and I want to thank her for being here and invite her to the podium.
Thank you, Senator. And thank you, Congressman, Mr. U.S. Attorney, the Commissioner, state representatives, and all the community leaders here in Bucks County. I can't tell you how thrilled we are to be able to have this designation here in Bucks County, and how important it really will be, by the way, to your constituencies, and how great the partnership will be, federal, state, local, tribal, and what that means. Let me just give you a few facts about the high-intensity drug trafficking areas and what they did last year alone. They dismantled nearly 3,000 drug trafficking organizations. They removed $16.5 billion in wholesale value of street drugs, and they made nearly 100,000 arrests, and those resulting obviously in strong prosecutions, Mr. U.S. Attorney. And you know, that gives you just a snapshot of what this means. What this really means is collaboration in your community among all levels of government to combat one of the worst epidemics and problems in our country. This president has committed over now about $35 to $38 billion worth of money, has designated it as an emergency in this country, and every community knows that it is. Those of us on the federal level deal with communities across this country, and I can't emphasize the importance of working together to combat this. You know, how many people here know someone that lost a loved one We hear it all the time as we travel through the country, and we're committed to saving lives. The President is committed to that. Our Director, Jim Carroll, is committed to that. And every day on the federal level, we wake up and work with Congress in order for that to do. And our HIDTA is really one of our premier programs. ONDCP oversees all the federal money going out throughout all of the agencies in the all-of-government approach. And our HIDTAs and our drug-free communities. I know that a lot of community leaders here work with our drug-free communities. Diane Rosati, I saw last week at the Recovery Walk. So ONDCP is federal, but we are involved in prevention, treatment, and recovery. And we try to assist all of those areas from our vantage point, but getting into the local communities. My personal background is in the criminal justice system on a local level, most recently as a drug court prosecutor in Annapolis, Maryland. So I've been on the ground, I know the issues from the ground, and I'm just really thrilled to be here today. I think this is going to make just an additional difference to what you're already doing here in this community. I commend you for what you've done, but this is really going to be the icing on the cake. Our Liberty HIDTA director, who does a fabulous job, is going to oversee this Bucks County designation. So we're thrilled, and you're going to hear more from him about the details of that. So thanks, everybody, for having me, and congratulations on this great designation, and good luck.
At this time, I'm going to invite to the podium our U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, Bill McSwain, who's been doing an outstanding job since the day he was sworn in. Bill.
This is a really positive thing for Bucks County, and there's a lot of people to thank for it. A lot of effort went into it. Certainly our political leaders, we owe them our thanks. Senator Toomey, Senator Casey, Congressman Fitzpatrick. And when it comes to the way our senators have worked together to make positive things happen for our Commonwealth, that really makes me proud as a Pennsylvanian to see that, to put aside petty political squabbles and for people to work across the aisle with each other. So I really want to commend our senators for making this possible. I want to thank Deputy Director Erlich for attending and for the crucial work that she does. Similarly, Jerry Daly, the head of, where's Jerry? The Executive Director of Liberty Mid-Atlantic HIDTA, who I work with very frequently. Great working relationship with Jerry. Commissioner Lockery, thank you for being here. And Fred Herron, thank you for also for hosting and for your support. And lastly, I wanted to thank the District Attorney. Matt and I have a very good working relationship. We work together a lot on cases already, and I think we're going to be working together even more now, and I'm very, very pleased about that. So just a few brief points about what this means for the county. Bucks County is facing major drug trafficking issues, as other speakers have already explained, and certainly the threat from drug trafficking organizations with the attendant violence, gun crimes, overdose deaths, those are all very real, and Bucks County has felt their harmful impact. Now, the HIDTA partnership is crucial in targeting not just the local dealers, but the large drug trafficking organizations that operate in networks throughout this area. As a HIDTA executive board member, my office is focused on disrupting and, in fact, destroying these large drug trafficking organizations through ongoing coordination with our federal, state, and local partners. But no one can fight this battle alone. We are stronger when we work together. And we've been collaborating and working with Matt Weintraub and his team for years in their relentless efforts to combat drug trafficking in this region. But now, with their new designation and with the additional federal HIDTA resources, we hope to partner with Bucks County even more to reduce the number of crimes and deaths that result from large-scale drug trafficking organizations in order to keep our friends, our families, and our neighbors safe. So again, I want to congratulate Matt. We're looking forward to working with you and with your team as always.
The gentleman who's got probably the most granular knowledge about this, Jerry, do you want to share a few thoughts on what this means for Bucks County?
Thank you, Senator. Good morning, all. One of the things that we have to recognize about drug trafficking is the dotted lines on the map that separate counties and states and municipalities and such really mean nothing to the drug trafficking organizations that are moving product and funds through our communities. Our location on the I-95 corridor is probably one of the most heavily trafficked areas for narcotics and other dangerous substances. And with this designation, we've sort of closed the loop around southeastern Pennsylvania and even in South Jersey and northern Delaware, so that we can all work in a cooperative effort, crossing those jurisdictional lines in task force operations to investigate, disrupt, and dismantle these drug trafficking organizations that threaten our communities with these substances. We're very much looking forward to working with Bucks County. We've been doing so in a lot of respects for years now, actually, with the District Attorney's Office, with Mr. Weintraub, with Fred Herron and Bensalem, who's already committed personnel to our task force operations. Now this gives us the opportunity to expand further and use the resources from the federal government, from ONDCP, to the maximum value of the folks in Bucks County. Thank you all for being here today. And thank you, Senator. Thank you, Congressman. We appreciate it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.